Tom here, and today I thought I'd shoot this video because I want to talk about ebooks. Most people know that creating informational products is a really quick way to get online and to get into profit fast because they're quick to produce, they're relatively simple to produce, and they've got high profit margins and they're very low risk. Now, there are a number of ways to create ebooks, and this week there's been a massive launch of a particular piece of software. If you have lived under a rock for the last week or so, you may not know about it, but I think most people watching this video will be aware of the launch of this particular piece of software. And I'd just like to take a step back from all the hype and everything else that's going on during this launch week and really think about, do you need these pieces of software? Now, there's this new kid on the block that's been released this week, and there's also one that's a bit more established. It's been around for a while now, and it is well established, it's well supported, and I will say here, I'm not anti-software at all whatsoever, but you need to really think about, do you need this stuff? And in both cases, my answer is really no. They do what they do, and they do it relatively well. Some things are better than others. But I want to show you that you don't really need to keep buying all these pieces of software, these bright, shiny objects, where you can use a piece of software that you've probably already got on your PC. So, the product that was launched this week, the software, was Sqribble. Now, I've got a copy of Sqribble because I thought I wanted to test it to see how good it was and how it actually measured up to all the claims on the sales page. I also have the more established product, which is Designrr. And you may well have heard of that one as well. So we're going to have a look at both of these particular pieces of software, see what they do, see what they can't do, and then I'm going to show you how you can actually do this elsewhere, outside of these two pieces of software. So first we will look at the new kid on the block, which is Sqribble. So I've logged into my Scribble Dashboard, and I've created, or tried to create an ebook. Now, the whole point of this particular piece of software, the biggest selling point is the fact that you can use very highly stylized templates to make your ebook or lead magnet look really sexy and stand out from all the standard A4 PDFs that are out there. And the idea is that you can import text from a blog post, you can create it from scratch, you can cut and paste from a text document, you can import from Word, or they have an inbuilt content library where they've got lots of articles that you can just drag in. Now, the biggest problem with this is I have a problem with this idea of using URLs and scraping information and stuff from other people's websites. Now, if you're using this to scrape content from your own blog, that's fine, not a problem. But I think they don't really make that clear enough on their sales page. And people may well, unbeknown to them, just go and scrape content from all sorts of blog posts all over the place, which is unethical, if not illegal, because you're stealing other people's work. Now, if you are going to scrape information and content from a third-party blog post, then the least you should do is backlink to that particular blog post, so you give them credit. But ideally, you'd also actually approach the blog post owner and ask for their permission. So if you do that, then it's fine. But anything else is totally unethical and you shouldn't be doing it. Now, the trouble with 4 of these methods of grabbing content, i.e. URL, copying and pasting from text document, importing from Word, or importing an article from their library, it completely overwrites all the formatting of the template. So you will only get your standard A4 layer. So that completely negates one of the unique selling points of this particular piece of software. The only way you're going to get this highly stylized look is by using the create from scratch. So you are going to have to copy and paste bits into various text boxes to maintain the look and feel of the original template. So it completely negates it. So I've got as you can see, these are my projects. I've tried to play with this, and this is a project that I started a couple of days ago, and it's grabbed from a blog post from one of my websites. So let's just open this up. So let's edit it. Okay, so if I just scroll down here, what Sqribble does, it pulls in a table of contents, and it's pretty good. It may need some editing. The biggest thing about the table of contents in Sqribble is it's not clickable. So they are not linked to any sort of tag, H1 tag, H2 tag in the document. So when you export this as a PDF, you can't just click on these and it will take you to the relevant section, subsection, or whatever, or chapter. So not great, but it's okay. At least you have a table of contents. So let's scroll down. It pulls in all this is fed from a blog post that I use, and it does pull in most of the information, and the formatting was okay. Some of it's a bit squiffy, but generally the actual content that it pulls in is not too bad. The issues I have with this particular piece of software is the editor is incredibly difficult to use. If I want to resizing is okay, but if I want to move this up, it's very hard to do. And if you hit the wrong content box, it just won't work. And also, it will just completely ignore that you're on the bottom of a page. And then trying to move it back, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So it has worked this time. Bullet lists, they're fine. Text lists, let's try and move this to the side. So let's try and align this to the left or right. So you can align that to the left or right, but there's no way of wrapping this text around here. To do that, you'd have to create a 2-column layout and then recreate this image and then recreate the text. I can't just drag this text here. Not that you can always drag it. It doesn't always work. And try and put it next to the image. So you're going to have to faff about getting everything right, because I would like this to be aligned to the left, and then I would want this wrapped around the image. But even trying to grab this image, grab this paragraph and pull it up, you can do it, but it's so difficult to do. See, the images are easier. Images are easier to move. You can move the images quite easily, but moving text is an absolute nightmare. And you should be able to just grab this text box here and move it up or down, but it's so hard. And it just wastes time. The whole point of these pieces of software are to make things quicker and easier for you. But in my case, I just do not think that's doing that, in my opinion. But as you can see, it's a bog standard A4 template. No different to anything you can produce in any other sort of word processing software. So you just think, well, what's the point? Yeah, you've got a header and a footer, but wow. And then you have the end page at the bottom. So yeah, it works. It pulls in all the information. It pulls in all the images, and you can resize your images. Yeah, you can resize it. So you can make it smaller. 250. So you can make it. So you can actually make it smaller. So it's not a problem. So you can actually resize the images if they don't fit. Unfortunately, it's all done by text over here on this editor. It'd be nice to have a slider. But again, if I wanted to move this image up, I'd have to try and drag it, which is not a problem here. But sometimes, like I said, with text, it's really, really difficult. You can move it down, but you can't move it up. There's no margin bottom. You can only move it down. You can never move it up unless you grab it and pull it up here like that. But like I said, with text, that's incredibly difficult. Okay, so that's the Sqribble editor. The other thing with the editor is there are other weaknesses as well. So the table of contents is not clickable. The actual editor itself is not particularly user-friendly. Also, they have limits on image upload. So if you're uploading an image, the maximum file size for an image upload is 500 kilobytes. Yeah, you heard that right, 500 kilobytes, which is tiny. The maximum upload size for a Word document is 5 megabytes, which again is not that big. And it will not pull in any images. It will only pull in text. So I think that Sqribble, it does what it does, and it does it well-ish, but you need to really, really persevere with it. And I just think that it's quicker and easier to do it elsewhere. So let's go to Designrr, which is the old kid on the block. This has been around for a while now, probably a year or two, and it's well established and it is well supported, and it works, but I think there are better options out there. So in Designrr, okay, so I've got another test here. This is the same blog post that I've pulled in information from my particular website, the same blog post that I used in Sqribble. So let's go to edit. So here I actually created a cover for this particular blog post. I didn't import it into Sqribble because I just got so frustrated with using the editor. But the blog post is exactly the same. I've also added a background, which you can do this in Sqribble, but I got so frustrated with the whole process that I just gave up. But I actually think that the way Designrr works is easier. The actual editor is far more user friendly. Here you can see that I've actually managed to do everything, wrap the text around the image, which you can't do in Sqribble. Like you can see here, there are weird formatting issues, and I can change all this. You can change the text style, you can change the font and everything else. It does do a few weird things, but generally it's actually a better editor than Sqribble. I think it's easier to use. This, you can create clickable links here. This is a link back to my website in the footer. The header here, you can actually create this as a clickable link, maybe back to the blog post that you grabbed this from. And you can obviously add links. And you can do this in Sqribble as well. You can add links to your PDF. I've got links here to explain their doodly, some of these content samurai. So, you can link it. The biggest thing with Designrr is the basic version does not generate a table of contents. So if you want to have a table of contents, you need to upgrade to Pro. Now, if you go onto the Designrr website, if you Google Designrr, in fact, if we go back to the very first Google search that I was on when I started this video, the first thing is an ad for Designrr itself. If you go to the sales page, this is the sales page for Designrr. Let's just scroll down so that the price is $39 a month, and that's for the Pro version. And the Pro version is the one that actually has a table of contents generator. So if you want to use Designrr and you need to generate a table of contents for your ebooks, because if you're using this to generate full-on ebooks, you're going to need to generate a table of contents. You're going to have to pay $39 a month. However, I do have a link for Designrr, and you can actually get it as a one-time payment, and you would just pay $27 for a lifetime license, and that's what I've got. And if you do that, then when you go into Designrr here, I will come out of this first, but you can see that the actual PDF it produces it's okay, it's pretty good. But if you go back to the main dashboard, okay, I'm not quite sure what happened there. Designrr just seemed to crash on me, so you live and learn. Okay, so what I was saying was, if you do get Designrr, get it through somebody who has a link for a $27 one time. And I will place links for Designrr and Sqribble below this video because you may want to use them, but I'm just giving you options. But if you do get the lifetime option for $27, then you will get the option to upgrade, and you'll get the emails to ask you to upgrade anyway. But you can actually upgrade here to the Pro version, which is normally $39 a month. You can upgrade for a one-time payment of $97. And then again, if you want to go to Premium, $297, or Business, $697. These are one-time payments, and if you compare that to what you're getting here, The premium version is $49 a month. Business one is $99 a month. So if you do want to upgrade, then feel free to. Business, $700. It's a lot of money, but it's $99 a month there. So in 7 months, you'll have paid for it, and you won't have to pay ever again. So it's worth considering. So that's Designrr, that's Sqribble. So out of those two, if I had to choose one, I would definitely go with Designrr. The interface, the user experience is just more streamlined. It's just more slick. Now that may well be because Designrr has been around for longer than Sqribble, and Sqribble's relatively new, and I'm sure it will get better. But the whole point with Sqribble is that you can use these highly stylized templates, but if you're importing stuff, if you're copying and pasting stuff, then it will just overwrite the template, so it completely negates it. Yes, again, you can do what I've done with Designrr. You can add background, you can add the image as a background, but it's still more work, and I think it's quicker to do it in another piece of software that most people have probably got on their PCs. And this is simply good old Microsoft Word. Okay, Microsoft Word, you can easily write an ebook in Word, and if you have Office 365 or a new version of Word, then you can actually export that simply as a PDF. You can generate a table of contents, which is clickable, the same as in Designrr, but with Designrr you have to pay $27 followed by a $97 upgrade to get anything that will generate a table of contents. In Sqribble, you get a table of contents, but it's not clickable, and you are unable to add internal links to any sort of tags or header tags or anything like that at all. So you're never going to be able to generate a clickable table of contents in Sqribble. So as far as I'm concerned, Word is just far superior. So let's have a look at Word. Okay, again, I'm using the same blog post that I've used for Sqribble and for Designrr. So this is what I've created in Word. I do have a template that's got the header and footer with my logo on it, and it uses all the same typography. I've set that up as a template in Word, which is not particularly difficult. And as you can see here, again, I've created a background image. I've created little breakout boxes to, sex things up a bit, because this is the whole point of using something like Sqribble is to make it look a bit sexier, make it stand out a bit more. So I've done that, and this took me minutes. I basically imported the post from my website. Obviously, I can't import it like I would from a URL, so I just went to my blog post, just selected all the text, and just copied and then pasted it into Word. It took me about 10 minutes to do all the formatting, another few minutes to get these little breakout boxes and add this background, and I already had this template for my cover, so I just went in and just changed the text. So it took me about 15 minutes, 20 minutes tops to create this. And I think you'll agree that this looks brilliant. It looks really, really good. The other thing is as well, if I wanted to change let's go and find a piece of text. If I wanted to just change this bit of text here to 1 or 2 column, it's just easy to do. You can just go to layout and change it to 2 columns. You can't do that in Designrr, and you can do it in Sqribble, but you have to create a new text box, which is obviously a 2-column text box. You can't just change it on the fly like that. So I think Word is just so much easier, and adding in these little breakout boxes is dead simple. I mean, I'll show you now. So all you do is go Insert and Insert Shape. And I just put a little small one here, and then I immediately change the wrap layout options to behind the text. So now I can just put this behind here, drag it across, get it to how I want it, like so. I can change the colour if I so wish, and then if I want to change the font colour within, I can just change the font colour. Let's change it to white. done. You know, it took me a few seconds to do that. If I want to, adding the background is, again, it's not particularly difficult. So you can just go to the Design tab in Word, and there are two ways that you can do this. You can go to Page Color. So if you want to just change the page color to a particular color, so just change it to green. You can change page color quite simply. It won't work at the moment because I've got this watermark on there, and the watermark covers the entire page. But if I remove the watermark, you'll see that the page is green. So you can do the page color, you can change the color easily. Same sort of stuff as you can do in like Sqribble and Designrr, but you can easily do it in Microsoft Word. The other thing you can do as well is you can actually if you go to Fill Effects, again you can choose a picture. So select a picture. Let's work offline from a file. I have to remember where I put them. Background watermark templates for Word. So I can just pick one of these. Okay. And you will have to play about with the sizes. The reason that the sizes are a bit squiffy here is because I actually designed these sizes to work as a watermark, but you can quite easily change the dimensions of the particular background that you want. And there you go. So you've easily added a background. Let's just undo that. The other way you can do it, you can just actually grab the image. So let's go to watermarks here. So let's just use this image. So let's just remember where it is. So it's in my PLR folder. So I can just insert. So let's just go up to the top here. Insert pictures. Let's just insert this one. So you can insert this. This gives you, and again, let's just change the wrap to behind the text. The good thing about doing this is that you can obviously resize it. Right, so it's behind the text. And if it's too dark, you can just double click on it and you can actually change the transparency. So if it's too dark, you can make it paler. Which you can't do with a watermark or if you add it as a background picture. So, of course, the downside to this is that you have to add it to every single page if you're not on every single page, but you can certainly do that. And the final way of doing it is my preferred way of doing it is to go back to Design, add it as a watermark. So custom watermark, picture watermark, select picture from the file. So I was using this one, and then you can just go apply. I would change that to 100%. Apply, and there you go. Now close that. Now, as you can see, you can't see it very well here because it's washed out. So you can go back to there, go back to your custom watermark, untick the washout box, apply, and that's the original watermark that I had before. So, and then once you've finished, you just go File and then Save As, and you just save it as a PDF. Easy. So I will show you the PDFs that were generated. So this was the PDF that was generated from Designrr. As you can see, the top of the cover has been cut off, and that's because I've had this designed with my header and footer in mind, and obviously Designrr doesn't take that into consideration. But apart from that, it looks okay. Like I said, there are a few weird things with formatting, but generally it looks okay, and I can wrap the text around that. So, you know, I think most people would be happy with a PDF like that. But let's go to, I didn't bother doing one from Sqribble because I didn't finish it off because I found it too frustrating. Let's go to the one that I produced in Word. As you can see, the cover fits perfectly onto the page. Formatting is just so much better because it's been generated in Word. I've got a nice table of contents here, so let's just go down here. I've got highlighted text. I've got text wrapped around it. Again, I've just been playing with this, so I've just got text wrapped around it. I've got clickable links like the other ones have, and I'll also, let's go back up again. But it looks pretty good. And I think that looks better than the one produced in Designrr, and definitely the one produced in Sqribble that I couldn't even actually finish. So take this how it's meant to be, in the spirit it's meant to be. I'm not slagging these things off, these pieces of software. They all have their place. All I'm trying to do is give you options. I do have links for Sqribble, and I also have a link for Designrr, and I will place them below this video if you want to take a look. But really, to be honest, you can do everything that those pieces of software do, and you can do them easily in Word, and you can probably do it in OpenOffice, which is free. You know, Word costs about $60 a year for Office 365, but you don't just get Word, you get things like PowerPoint, Excel, and all sorts of other stuff. You get 1 terabyte storage with OneDrive, so you can't really compare them on price. But for sheer flexibility, I think you cannot beat Microsoft Word for generating and creating your ebooks and PDFs. So I hope you found this video useful. Please like it and leave a comment below, and I will see you next time. Thanks. Bye.